Welcome back to Season 2 of Build and Banter, the official podcast of PROTEOR. I'm your host, Mike Gorski. I have a surprise co-host today, Martin Astor.
Hello.
We have Antonio Bova.
Hello, everyone.
And our special guest, Mariia Yelizarova.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. We're so happy you're here. Thank you for driving down from Boston today.
Thank you for inviting me to visit you guys.
Definitely. So what we're doing here today is we're talking about One World Strong, we're talking about Unbroken, and we're talking about PROTEOR. And we're trying to bring all three of these companies together to do an awesome fundraising campaign to help those affected by the war going on in Ukraine. And Mariia came all the way down from Boston this morning to be with us. Thank you again for doing that.
No, thank you for inviting me. It was kind of crazy to just reach out to you 2 weeks ago, and now I'm here. It's kind of surreal.
So can you tell us how did all this happen, right? So just walk through, did you get a phone call saying we want to do prosthetics in Ukraine or we're interested in 3D printing? Like, what were the steps that said, hey, you know, One World Strong, what's involved in 3D printing and prosthetics in Ukraine?
How much time do you have?
We got plenty of time.
So I first partnered with One World Strong about a month ago when the founder, Dave, he offered me a spot to run the marathon in 2026. And after that, I kind of started talking to him about what kinds of projects his charity is involved in, because I wanted to not just fundraise, but to pick a story that would resonate with my community and with a lot of people so that I could raise enough money to make a meaningful impact. And so while we were talking about all the projects that were going on, he mentioned Unbroken, and he connected me to Alexander, who is currently working in Lviv for Unbroken. And he was telling me about this 3D printer. And I was like, oh, cool. We have a lot of technology in Boston. I was thinking, like, I used to work at iRobot. I know that there are robotics and 3D printing companies in Boston specifically. So I was like, maybe this would be a good partnership. He's like, actually, we're looking for a very specific printer. It's in Pennsylvania. I was like, okay, you know what? Close enough. I'm just going to look into these guys. But this is like a story that I can at least partner with people in Boston on, and I can, you know, reach out to different sponsors and try to fundraise for this. And then I was like, and I'm just going to try to cold call this company and see if maybe they would like donate their time or, you know, like give us a little discount or whatever. And so, yeah, I was just looking up any information I could find, and then I filled out the sales form on the website and like immediately got a meeting invite. Yeah, and then the rest is history. Then Mike actually himself got on the phone, which I was shocked by. And and ever since then, we decided to be partners. And this is, I think it's going to be a great partnership. I'm really excited about working with you guys.
I think it's going to be great. I mean, I think it's great that we're going to be infusing 3D printing technology, PROTEOR's long-lasting history in prosthetics, what you know about Ukraine, Unbroken, you know, the amazing foundation of One World Strong, and bringing them together to just do something great for the people over there.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I really, when I decided to fundraise and run the marathon through a sponsorship, through kind of a charity sponsorship, I wanted to fundraise for Ukraine specifically because I'm originally from Ukraine. I moved to Boston in like 2011, but I just wanted to connect my two worlds and, do something good for my country.
And what's happening in your country is horrible. It's horrible. And I think it's amazing that you want to, you know, work with us and just get back to the people of Ukraine.
And I really appreciate, you know, the fact that you guys are helping Ukraine as well, even though this is an American company. You know, I was shocked when I found out that you travel to Ukraine all the time. Like, I haven't been there since the war started. So this is like really impressive to me that you do all this work and you help so much in Ukraine.
Thank you. It's a team effort. It's the whole team here. The whole team shares the same passion about helping everyone in Ukraine and showing the world, I'll say, what doing correct 3D printed prosthetics can do, because there's a lot of companies doing 3D printed prosthetics. I'll say it like this: we have the data and the science to back it up, and I'm afraid that other companies don't have that, and they're rushing into it, and they might actually be doing a disservice to the people of Ukraine. But the great thing about PROTEOR and PROTEOR Print, our division here, we do have the science and the analytics to back up what we're doing, which goes a long way to say, yes, this is safe for the patient to wear.
Yeah. And it's something that's really needed in Ukraine right now, because obviously there are a lot of people suffering horrific injuries from the war, and you want to get them a good product that will last. Healthcare is not in the best state in Ukraine right now, so it's really amazing to deliver something that's American made, as I found out today, like
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
American made, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is. You don't see that. You want to talk about bringing manufacturing back to the USA, and we're here. We're doing it.
Yeah. So this is like something that I'm really proud to work on with you guys, is bringing like a really high quality product to my country.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you. We're happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. How did you get involved with Unbroken?
How did I get involved with Unbroken? So that was a funny story. So I'm going to paraphrase and cut some parts here together. I was in Ukraine, in Uzhgorod, at the military hospital there, working with a not-for-profit called Mission for Ukraine. They're out of Wyoming here in the USA. We set up an Icarus in their Uzhgorod facility. I traveled there to set it up, train everybody. And then, long story short, and this is where the story gets a little crazy, I'm flying back from Ukraine. I have a layover in Munich. So I'm at Munich, and a guy comes up to me, and it's probably because I had my hoodie on. It has it's OD green hoodie. It has the American flag on it. It has like the U.S. Army tank star on it. And you could tell this guy's from the USA. It's just, you could just hear like the American Eagle just screaming in the background when you saw this thing. And he was just like, were you in Ukraine by any chance? And just look at this guy. I was like, yeah. I'm traveling back right now. And he goes, oh, what are you doing over there? I said, oh, we're doing medical prosthetics. And he's like, I'm actually an attorney in Ukraine, and I was working in Lviv, and I know a couple of foundations there. Do you want me to get you hooked up with what you guys are doing over there? So randomly, airport connection, right? Guy in the Munich airport sends a message to the mayor of Ukraine, who sends a message to Alexander and gets me linked up that way, just again, strange airport connection. This random stranger somehow 2 levels down gets me in contact with Alexander. So unfortunately, I haven't talked to the guy ever again, but he's the guy just, through the grapevine that got me hooked up with Alexander. And then the next time I went back over, talked to Alexander, he and I hit it off right away. And what an amazing guy. I mean, he told me what he was doing when the country was getting invaded, how he was, part of the defense there for the home area. Told me, his wartime stories. I was just like, man, this is crazy. I couldn't even imagine myself being in this. And then how he, got associated with Unbroken, how he's leading the foundation there. So he and I hit it off. And, I came back to the USA then. And then I recently just went back 2 weeks ago, and I just messaged him again on WhatsApp, like, hey, Alexander, I'm back in the area. And again, super nice guy. And he was just like, yeah, let's get some coffee. Let's talk, see what we can do. And then we talked about 3D printers for Unbroken. And then I'm guessing he made a phone call to you afterward, or Dave at One World Strong.
Yeah. Well, I got on the phone with both Dave and Alexander, and I was like, hey, I really want to do something that is related to Ukraine. Like, what is it that you need right now that's within kind of the realm of fundraising for this marathon? And yeah, Alexander suggested a 3D printer. So, but he didn't mention you at the time. So I went on a wild goose chase of like trying to find the founder of this company and try to partner with you guys. But thankfully, it turned out to be super approachable and collaborative. Yeah.
But it's been great. I'm looking forward to this, long relationship with you and Alexander and Unbroken. It's good that we finally have connected all the pieces of the puzzle, right? Like all the dots are connected. We have all the pieces of the puzzle ready to go. And I think now we have great communication to put these printers into Unbroken and actually make a real world difference with prosthetics.
Yeah. My dream for next year is for somebody to run the Boston Marathon on a prosthetic that was printed with one of these printers that we fundraise for this year.
We can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Hopefully.
That'd be
really cool.
That'd be awesome. That'd be a really cool
And
thing.
I heard we have some candidates, so
yeah.
stay tuned.
We can scan it, we can modify it, we can print it, we can get that done.
And I heard you can make a Ukrainian flag prosthetic. So.
We could. We're getting hydro dipping now. We're starting to hydro dip. We could easily take one of our Chiron Max sockets, put the flag on it, hydro dip it. We could have Marty hydro dip it. You are the expert.
Yeah, somewhat.
I've seen your work. It's great. Look, this looks amazing too. I don't know. This is really cool. Like before, obviously, like as of 4 weeks ago, I didn't know any information about 3D printing or the world of prosthetics, but it's just incredible what you've been able to do with technology and like how much you're able to simplify the process. Because my understanding is right now in Lviv, what they're doing is that they're making these things by hand, and it takes them like 1 business day to make one of these. And how many hours does it take now with the printer?
So right now with the printer, there's 2 different ways of printing the socket. But I'll say your typical below-the-knee socket, and Martin, back me up on this, 2 to 6 hours?
Yep, 2 to 6 hours below the knee. And like Mike said, just depending on the style of printing you do it, it's either in that vase mode like we were talking about, where you can really get a socket out in 60 to 90 minutes, or if you get that higher detail socket, you're right around the 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. And something, I'm not sure if you guys know, but like Dave was running the Boston Marathon during the Boston Marathon bombing, so he's very closely related with all of the guys that were running that year. And he mentioned to me that the people who lost their limbs in the marathon bombing have since had about 70 surgeries each, like modifying the prosthetic and like making modifications basically, or like having secondary infections and things like that. So it's not something that you get for life. It's something that you have to constantly modify. And so to be able to print it in such a short time is a game changer, because imagine how many people in Lviv right now, like, or in Ukraine in general, how many people need just one prosthetic. And then if you multiply that by, 70 times, and what it's been like a little bit over 10 years since the Boston Marathon bombing, right? So like imagine they just have to, and for kids, when they grow up, they also need modifications constantly. So it's really great to have the technology to be able to do this super quick.
Yeah. And I think what's really important to add too, we're not just doing PETG check sockets, which is what the majority of the industry is doing through 3D printing right now, which if you're not careful with can be very dangerous, because PETG shatters. It's not very impact resistant. It's not something that's designed for a definitive prosthetic stock, but on what we've done here at PROTEOR is that we have our material CPX Chiron Max for definitive everyday use. And it's passed the ISO 10328 test. It's passed the 3 million cycle test. So we have hard data. We have scientific data showing this is safe. And this is the first time on a large scale this would be deployed to Ukraine, to Unbroken in Lviv, and showing that we can now safely, using science, scan, modify, and print a definitive lower limb prosthetic socket, which is huge. So we've had this technology in America for a few years. It's been validated. One thing to make clear, we want to say we're not rolling this out as an R&D platform to Ukraine. This is not research and development. This is full-blown production backed by data, ready to go for definitive devices.
And you guys are already producing devices in multiple countries, so this is not going to be the first place to deploy it to. Yeah. I was really impressed. I just saw the printer and I was like geeking out over there over all of this cool technology. Explain the scanning process.
Yeah, actually, Antonio, you're one of our digital suite experts here at PROTEOR. One of them. Do you want to give a little brief walkthrough of how the scanning and modification process works?
Yeah. So the scanning process, we have a couple options. There's a true depth scanner, which is just the front-facing camera on your iPhone, and you can easily scan any part of your patient. And then we also have the structured scanner option, which goes on the back of your iPhone, which is a little easier to use because you can see where you're scanning. And our software is fully customizable. It goes through each step of a CPO's process, but it's fully digital. So it keeps the familiarity of it, but keeps it fully digital.
So what's cool thing? Sorry, with Shape FLX, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our software, it's step by step.
Yes.
So you almost have like a self-guided tour. You have someone helping you through the process of the scanning and the modification process.
Yes.
And the question I want to ask you, coming into the technology and the software, not knowing the medical, not having a CPO's background, how easy was it for you without any medical knowledge to, scan, modify, and learn the software?
Yeah, I was able to learn it within a couple weeks. So.
And teach it now.
Yeah, and now I'm teaching it to other people. So it was fairly simple to learn, and it's as plug and play as possible.
So would you guys say, assume you're CPO, right? So assume you're a CPO, you want to learn digital, you want to learn how to do all this. I get my phone, I get my iPad, right? From the time I'm scanning someone to I have my finished file for 3D printing, 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes easily.
So I think that's what's awesome. We're going to be able to scan the people of Ukraine, scan it, modify it, 15 minutes, print it 2 to 6 hours. So worst case scenario, 7 hours from time they come in, time they leave with a socket. Worst case 7, maybe best time 2 hours.
Yep.
But
And
that's crazy.
and
It's incredible.
And that's the full process.
that's the full process, and it's not, it's not the 7 hours where they're going home on a temporary socket. You're right. They're going able to use that socket for longevity and definitive use. So I think that's a really good point where this process isn't just an extra step into making a traditional socket. It's really taking out the traditional socket manufacturing while keeping the same statistics in the software.
Yeah. And for people who are not familiar with prosthetics, like the typical process would be to just make a cast, right? And then discard that, and then from the cast by hand make the socket, right?
Right. And I'm not a processist, but I've seen the process, right? So you have the patient comes in, they have to do a plaster mold. So the patient has to wear, if I remember correctly, it's like a large garbage bag over their amputation. Then the plaster has to go on, and the plaster has to get sanded, and they make a mold of that, and then they finally drape the plastic over it for the fit, and they hope it fits. And again, I'm not a processist, so I'm sure I'm missing some steps here, right? I'm really summarizing this right now, but it's not dirty, it's not messy anymore. Man, the camera on the iPhone's doing this. This is crazy.
Way less waste of material.
And imagine for kids, it must be so traumatic, like if something is getting sanded off of your amputated limb, right? That's, and if you're just able to take a picture with your iPhone. I'm simplifying. I'm sure it's not just taking a picture, it's like scanning, right? But still.
It really is like simplifying the process and still getting the same result where, you don't have to have all that manpower. You don't have to, you don't have to be preoccupied doing the cast or the mold where, you can send your file to the machine and be doing other scans in the background or doing other modifications to more patients where, the machine does majority of the work and it frees manpower up to do other things. So
Even not just manpower, just the real estate of the building it's in. I mean, normally you'd have all these rooms for storing your raw materials, right? And then the room that I'm sanding everything in, the room I'm post-processing in, then the room I'm fitting components in. I mean, now we're down to just scanning printers and maybe a small carving post-processing station just to stand and buff stuff. But these large rooms with all these machines that used to be needed to take care of plaster and sanding it and cutting it, and it's so dusty. Now it's a couple 3D printers in one room. So, I mean, I don't want to give a number because I don't know what the square footage of your average facility just shrank. I don't know, but 70, I'm going to give a number, 75%. I'm guessing of your floor space just shrank down to 3D printing. I mean, it's
we have some people just put the printer in the room, like the bedroom of their house, because they're like, it's so small,
All right, maybe not bedroom of their house, but I mean, you could.
Especially with the light.
Yeah, it's such a small footprint, but it has the capabilities of producing a finished socket. It really is a game changer.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so, Mariia, now you know more about the 3D printing process, right? I'm sure you have tons of questions on this and how it works, but one thing I would love to kind of side into right now is how did you get involved with One World Strong? What was your story behind that?
Yeah, so going back all the way to 2013, I was I think a sophomore or junior in college. I was going to BU, and every Marathon Monday, we were at the finish line just watching our friends finish. So one of my friends was running that year, and when the bombs went off, he was 10 minutes past the finish line. So we're walking away from the finish line, but that's when the bombs got off. And we basically just started evacuating, and we grabbed any of the out-of-town runners that were finishing, and they had no idea where they were going. They didn't have any cell phones. All of the cell communications were shut down because they thought that the bombs were activated by a cell phone. So we basically had to walk all the way home, but it was completely blocked off everywhere. So we had a couple of out-of-town runners coming with us until the cell communications got back up. And basically that was the year I was like, all right, I have to run a marathon. And if I run a marathon ever, like if I'm ever fit enough, like it has to be Boston Marathon, because I was just like offended that our city could get attacked like that. And we needed to like kind of stay strong and show that we will not back down. So many years passed and kind of, the war started. So I was doing a bunch of other volunteer efforts. I went to Poland to volunteer at one of the largest refugee centers when the war broke out, and then I was really looking for a project that would have a meaningful impact on Ukraine, which is how I got introduced to Dave. And then when I kind of met Dave and learned that he, in addition to all of the US-based stuff that he was doing with the victims of violent crime and bombings and school shootings and things like that, he was also doing amazing work in Ukraine with Unbroken. So I was like, this is a really great match for me. And I can dedicate my marathon to One World Strong, to Unbroken, and to Ukraine, and to Boston.
Yeah.
So.
Damn, I can't even imagine like what went through your head when that happened.
Oh, we thought it was fireworks. Like, it didn't even occur to me that it was the bombings. Like, honestly, because we couldn't see it happening. And then my friend, who was studying at the Boston Public Library, she could see it from the window. And she was like, you guys need to get out of there right now. So I was like, oh, like, why? Because we could see people running, but obviously it's the marathon. So, like, everybody's running. So, like, so we didn't realize that it was that bad. Yeah. But I really fought for the runners that just ran the entire marathon. And, like, they had no idea where in Boston they were. There were no clear instructions. No cell communications. Like, they couldn't get in touch. They couldn't get back to their hotels because it was like there's all police everywhere. But we knew how to walk home, and we had our student IDs, so we were able to kind of bypass, because they stopped the marathon at the Kenmore Square line, and which is like right at our campus. So yeah, we were able to get in through our BUIDs.
That's just, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah.
Just imagine just running a marathon, Boston Marathon, globally well known to be safe, and then, wow, that just happens.
But looking back on it, I mean, the marathon was so different back then. Like, we were able to bring backpacks. Like, we were able to just, like, go to the finish line. I mean, I watched the marathon every year since then, and, like, it would never occur to me to bring anything larger than a cell phone, because now you get searched. But, like, back then, I mean, we're, like, bringing tumblers of alcohol, like... I mean, like, this is called college. I'm just being honest here, right? Like,
you're having you're having all the essentials with you.
We were all over 21.
Sure.
But yeah,
of course.
But that's what was happening, and people would bring like giant bags, like boom boxes, like chairs.
It's a big social event.
Yeah, I mean, like, you get up. Right, like, you're in college, so you get up at like 10 or 11, you just like stumble to the finish line, like, you watch, I mean, we got up a little earlier that year because my friend was running, and I was like, I have to watch him finish. And so, yeah, he was in one of the later cohorts. So, yeah, thank God he finished like 10 minutes before the bombs went off, because we were like right at the finish line. We were right by that like Marathon Sports store. It's like a running equipment store, and it was like completely decimated. So, yeah.
I can't imagine. I really don't have any words.
No.
It's a horrible event.
Yeah.
But I was like, it made me angry, because I was like, how could you do this to this city, this community? Like, you can see that the marathon brings so many people together, and it's like a really show of strength for Boston. And it's like who we are. We welcome so many people. And at that point, like, Boston didn't really feel like my city yet, because I had only been there for 2 years, but like now it really feels like my hometown. And I'm like, you don't mess with Boston.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
That's one of the cities in the USA you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think it's just great that you as tragic of an experience that was with the bombing and everything, that you kind of circled back and you're like, I'm still gonna try my best to give back to Boston, give back to Ukraine, like, and kind of just bring everything together in a positive way. I think that's really great.
Yeah, and it's like really all the pieces fell in place, because again, I wasn't even sure. I had been talking to a bunch of charities about running the Boston Marathon for them. But there was not really one story that clicked for me, because it was like, okay, you can run for Boston Children's Hospital, but we can't promise that this money will go to Ukrainian children that come to Boston. Even though they do come to Boston, it's just like you can't fundraise for specific projects. But Dave was like, listen, if you pick a project with Unbroken that kind of speaks to your heart, and I'm a huge fan of technology. I've been working in tech for a really long time, both in physical tech and also in software. And I was just really, really impressed by how much technology can change this experience for people. And I think the war in Ukraine really showcases how, even though technically the Russian army is larger, like the way the Ukrainian army has been utilizing technology is really like what is putting us ahead. And so I think that even though 3D printing is obviously not like a military frontline technology, it's still putting us ahead because we're able to deal with such a large number of patients, and we're able to help them by using this innovation.
Right, especially like the whole aftercare, after the war. And from the people I've talked to over in Ukraine, I mean, the veterans will tell you, yeah, the war was hell, but readapting back to civilian life and that mindset and dealing with their injuries, the majority of them told me this is going to be even harder than what they saw on the front lines. And it's just nice to know that our 3D printing is there to help them for a better experience, getting their prosthetic, a better feeling prosthetic, shorter wait time to get a prosthetic, getting them back on their feet faster, getting them back to their families faster. Just hopefully, my goal is we're just helping them adapt to whatever quote-unquote normal life is, right? However you define normal. I mean, it's a relative term. But however you define what a normal life is, if we can have a small part in helping them get there faster and better, I think that's what really goes a long way for us.
Yeah. And I think it's also, it's a great example for people that you can have as normal of a life as you can, even though you had your limbs amputated. Because I think one of the impacts of the Soviet Union on Ukraine was culturally, if you're in any way different than the norm, like your life is over, basically. So if you're in any way like disabled, your life is over pretty much. That's the attitude, and it's changing. It's been changing in recent years, but we don't have things like ADA where we have, in the US, wheelchair accessible areas and things like that everywhere. In Ukraine, that is only a recent development, so they're only now building this infrastructure. So the fact that somebody can, get a prosthetic and then run the Boston Marathon, I feel like that idea should show people that they shouldn't give up on life, even though they've been so impacted by the war.
Yeah. And especially going digital with a prosthetics clinic. I remember talking to Alexander, and hopefully he doesn't, mind me saying this, but when we were sitting there getting coffee, we're having coffee, and he looked at me, and he said, "Mike, I know digital's the future for prosthetics," and he sees it, and that was great because he's running the foundation. He sees the impact digital has, and as of right now, Unbroken hasn't really gone digital. They've kind of messed around with it, but they haven't really gone all in on it yet because I think they're trying to find the right partner. So he looked at me and he said, "Mike, I want you to be our partner to go digital." And I was like, "Oh man, you're talking about pressure now." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm just here to have coffee and hang out with you." And he's looking at me, he's like, "Can you help, take Unbroken and help them go digital?" I'm like, No pressure, Alexander, no pressure. I'm just a guy from America hanging out, getting coffee with you. And we're like, "All right, we're doing this.
Yep.
Let's go. We're gonna, we're gonna do this with PROTEOR, and we're gonna get it done for you."
Oh, hey, you wanted a project? Here you go.
We got it.
Just like me, I was like, I wanted to run a marathon. Like, not only am I like running a marathon, I'm like learning about 3D printing, fundraising, doing all of this. So this is a wild ride.
Yeah. So speaking of the fundraising, do you want to talk about what we're trying to do here by bringing all three of these companies together? Or do you want me to talk about it?
Well, I will kind of give a brief overview, and then I want you to talk about the impact you guys are going to have, because I think it's an incredible commitment that you're making. So basically, what we want to do is I want to dedicate my fundraiser to raising money for a printer for Unbroken. However, upon speaking with Mike, we kind of started talking about a more innovative idea of having a printer farm, which would really optimize operations in Lviv. So what we would like to do is we would like to put 6 3D printers in this hospital, because that is the volume that they're currently managing with all of the demand that they have for prosthetics. And the way they're all interconnected, they can really, really minimize the time that it takes to get a prosthetic to the patient. So each printer costs about $25,000. And so that's what I'm hoping to raise with my fundraiser. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching or reading about this, please consider a donation to my fundraiser. All of this money will go to Unbroken, to the 3D printing project. And then, Mike, do you want to talk about the commitment you guys are making?
Yeah, definitely. So PROTEOR knows we want to make sure we're donating appropriately too, because we want to help Unbroken support your cause as well. So with us here at PROTEOR, we're going to be donating one printer in full, so one $25,000 printer. So in total, the goal will be to have 7 printers at Unbroken, 1 through the donation from PROTEOR, and then 6 of them through your fundraising campaign. And also for every $25,000 that we raise for one 3D printer, we'll be throwing in a $5,000 retail value through 3D scanning and material compensation as well. So we'll make sure that you have filaments on day one, you have our 3D scanning software on day one, and modification software. So we're going to make sure every $25,000 raised, there's a $5,000 material donation backed by PROTEOR to go along with every machine.
Amazing.
And then on top of that, I'm personally going to travel to Lviv with these 7 machines, get them set up in Lviv, possibly have Martin Astor with me on this trip.
Yep.
What do you think? You want to go with me?
Yeah, why not?
All right, you'd be a great asset. So definitely me, probably Marty will be going with me. And the two of us, I don't know how long it's going to take to fundraise, but if this thing kicks off tomorrow and we're ready to go, and Marty and I will be on a plane next week. We'll see how fast we can go, but we're ready, and I'll personally oversee the project, make sure it gets done correctly.
Amazing. Yeah. And again, thank you so much for, your commitment to this and your collaboration and all of your help, because this is truly incredible. Like I said, I reached out to you guys like 2 weeks ago, and this is already up and running. And I'm just really excited to have such amazing help and such amazing team behind this fundraiser.
I think it's going to be fantastic, and it's something I'm personally passionate about. Before I was with PROTEOR, I was personally paying my own way to Ukraine, to see what we can do over there to help out. And now to be here, what, a year later? Yeah. Roughly a year later, now we're talking about working with Unbroken, One World Strong, doing this big fundraising campaign, putting scientifically backed 3D printers, hard data on the materials in Unbroken, knowing that this is going to work, knowing that we have a full ecosystem ready to go, having a reliable, validated solution for anybody affected, whether veteran, civilian, doesn't matter, anybody impacted by that will be able to go to Unbroken and benefit from this technology.
Yeah. No, that's truly amazing, and I'm so grateful to you guys for that, and so grateful for your commitment.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it, and yeah, any of the major donors or sponsors out there who would love to donate to support this cause, we'll have the link in the podcast. So do you want to mention about how you have a link ready to go for online donation?
Yes, I have my own fundraising website for One World Strong for the Boston Marathon, and you can go to the page and you can check out my story there, and you can subscribe for any updates, and you can donate directly there. So we would really appreciate any donations. And then if you're a physician working in prosthetics, or you're a company that would like to partner and make a big donation, we would love to partner with you, invite you maybe for a tour of this place, and also invite you to the finish line of the Boston Marathon. So yeah, just give us a call.
That'd be awesome. So
reach out.
We'll have the link posted in the podcast description. We'll have a link there. We'll have a link on our website, social media. We'll have all the links. So we're going to make sure we push that as far as we can. Yeah, man, I think this has been a great podcast, guys. I think this has been a very informative podcast.
Yeah,
what do you guys
really
think?
has.
Yeah. Do you guys want to go around any final words from you, Marty?
I don't think so. Yeah, I just didn't think a year later we'd be, here and having such a large impact in Ukraine. Like, it's just, everything's just a great cause. Everything's for a great cause. So it's, building the machines and testing the machines, they're going for a good cause. So I'm just excited for this initiative, and it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, Thank you. It's going to be great. How about you, Antonio? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm still fairly new to PROTEOR, but it's awesome to see that we can actually make a difference, and it feels like I'm contributing to making a difference in Ukraine, making a difference all over the world. So it's been awesome.
I appreciate you joining our team here and adapting to our little crazy lifestyle, work style that we have here at our facility. And Mariia, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, this is incredible. Again, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know you guys, and now we're sitting recording a podcast together, and I'm really, really excited for this fundraiser.
Awesome. And thank you for joining us. I think this was a great episode to kick off season 2 with. I mean, very informative, showing what we're doing in Ukraine. It's a great first episode for season 2. Thank you. All right. And so thank you, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate it. I am your host, Mike Gorski, signing off, and we'll see you for the next episode of Build and Banter. Thank you.